Hello everyone. My name is Guangri and I'm from Hong Kong, China. So today I'm going to talk about the contradictions between Chinese international students and Chinese domestic students. China has changed a lot in the last 20 years. Now, more and more rich people appear in China. Yet, there are also a lot of poor people due to the huge population base and the gap between rich and poor. Therefore, more and more families send their children to go abroad to study. We call these students Chinese international students, or Chinese overseas students, or something else. However, at the beginning, almost all Chinese international students are poor students who are from rich families but cannot enter universities through Chinese domestic education examination of education. Until now, there are also a lot of people think that Chinese international students are all poor students because they do not need to afford at all. The only thing they need to do is spending a lot of money in exchange for valuable diploma and job. Yet, that's not true. They don't know that international students still have many difficulties to overcome. As you know, I'm also an international student from China. I don't want them I don't want others to think I'm a playboy. I want them to see my effort. That's why I choose this topic. Everyone has their own difficulties to overcome, whether it is a Chinese domestic student or an international student from China. Although Chinese domestic talent competition is several times more intense than the United States, I still hope they can see the hard work of our efforts in foreign countries. So in this presentation, I'm going to define three main points. First, the challenges that Chinese international students have to challenge in the United States. Then, I'm going to talk about why Chinese domestic talent competition is so fierce, so intense. And finally, I want to talk about how the contradiction between Chinese international students and Chinese domestic students happen. First, when I first came to the United States, I came here alone. At that time, the only thing in English I can speak is yes, yeah, okay, okay, thank you, cool, nothing else. So I could not understand what Americans are talking about at all. So that was a really hard trip for me. Sometimes I used Google Translate to make me can understand others, but I found that the words from Google Translate are much harder to understand for me because that's not real English. That's not real Chinese. For our study, sometimes we could not understand our teachers, our professors, or our classmates. So we have to spend a lot of time, much more time than American students outside class. Also, we have to face the cultural differences, the differences in education systems, and homesick, and even racial issues. That's bad, I think. We can find this situation in a film, Study Abroad. Study Abroad is a Chinese film. So, why Chinese domestic talent competition is so intense, so fierce? As you know, China has the hugest population base than the United States, about 1.5 billion people, I think. That's five times more than the United States. Then, the gap between the rich and the poor in China is very huge. So, A lot of people cannot afford the education fee in at the university, even though they can pass the examination education. Finally, China has the different education system from the United States. In China, we use examination education or exam oriented education. So only less than 20% people can uh, go to the can enter the university every single year. That's only that's only a few percent, I think. In For this situation, we can find it in the film Top 10. This film tells a story about students how to effort to from a bad student to the top 10 in his school. That's a good movie, I think. So finally, how did the competition between Chinese international students and Chinese domestic students happen? There are some bad examples of overseas students, such as drug use, fighting, plagiarism, etc. Last some years ago. And also, Chinese domestic education model is different from the United States I talked above. And finally, the gap between the rich and the poor is bigger and bigger now. So, the most important reason is some bad examples that happened before, I think. For these situations, we can see some newspapers. For example, the international students use Negroes oxide to cause disabilities or some other disease. It's an article from a newspaper 2 years ago, I think. So, in conclusion, I think I think for us, for these Chinese international students, I hope some people can see. I hope other people can see our effort. I don't want others think we are ignorant or incompetent because we are also working hard. Also, I don't want to face some racial issues anymore. That makes me annoyed. Thanks for listening.